So how is it going, everyone? Welcome to the League of Europe. We are here for Division 3 once again. My name is Jacob, in case you don't know me by now. Usually I do the Division 3 stream, but last week I just had to cover it for James in Division 1. So, yeah, now you get to hear my sweet dulcet tones once again. This week's hot lap will be done by Mr. Daka, one of the Quavers in Division 1. Um, so I will play that hot lap for you right now, and I will be back straight after the hot lap. And so there you have it. That lap from Dakar, he did message me what time that was. It was a 1 minute 3.745. So, I mean, D1 will be starting in about 20 odd minutes time, with James also commentating it. So be sure to go and check that one out. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for Division 3, and how it's currently looking is the bread bank is on top doing a 104.9. So good going from the man now. I think is in the full time for Ferrari. Yeah, he's actually replaced LFC. So yeah, full time for Ferrari. So good job from him. We've got and again a couple new faces as well. Well, I said couple. The only one that I can see is a new face is Craigie Ather 28. He is replacing a Leddy for today. Now, I know Leddy's had sort of like a few issues over the past few weeks, so I don't know if it's anything to do with that. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But to my knowledge, from last week, Ivorbrim Mike took his first win. So I think that must be a curse for him, because for some unknown reason, when I'm not there, he wins a race. How ironic's that? I'm going to quickly turn this down a bit so you guys can properly hear me, because I think it might be just a bit too loud for you, so that you can't hear me properly. Hopefully that would be okay. Yeah, that should be fine. But we do have our championship leader, who is currently in P5 at the moment, of Mr. Adrilok Doc. In fact, actually, his teammate isn't here today either, so Norwich City is actually covering in for Smitsky this weekend. So, yeah. I see quite a few people in the chat. James actually putting straight away in the chat, it's a wet race. So this is going to be interesting. We'll see how this is going to start off. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Ghost saying he's trying out less assists this race. Brilliant, brilliant. Smitsky saying Adri for pole. Also, welcome back, thank you. Larkin saying, come on, Pablo Adribar. We'll see how he gets on. Ibo in the chat. Morgan saying, evening, Bottle. Evening, Mr. Morgan. Smitsky saying, oh, Adribar, this is why I like him. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Just whilst we're going through quali as well. In fact, Ghost is just lagged out of quali, so that's not a good sign. Let's just see who we can go on board with. I think James is... Yeah, James looks like he's currently on a lap. In fact, let me get that up. That would help. Yeah, so James looks like he's currently on a lap. So we'll stick on board with the man in the Haas. And whilst I just get up the championship standings... Oh, Mark coming out with a bold prediction saying Eduk will be on pole. Interesting. James actually goes only P8, only just, not even a tenth ahead of his teammate. And then the two, well, Kurska's just beaten that lap. Same with Norwich City. It doesn't look like he's had a good lap doing a 106 dead, so he's going to look to try and improve on that. The two McLarens are doing decent. Also, welcome back to MCR. So I know that he's been off for a couple of weeks, but now he's back. The other Spaniard that was in the championship fight, I think has started to just fall off a bit, only because of him not turning up. Let's see. Here we go, Division 3. So, standings are as follows. Adri still leading the way after getting a P2. It was a very close fight between him and Iverbryn Mike last week for that top step off the podium. But he is currently in first on 147 points. Then you have James, who actually DNF'd in Japan. That was a bit of a cheeky one I just saw as well. I think James didn't know to go in the pits and just try to cut it as much as he could. But yeah, James in P2 with 122 points, with MCR in third. He actually raced last race. He ended up coming third last race as well. So on 105 points, there's a potential. If James also DNFs this race, MCR could overtake James in the championship, and it would be down to the two Spaniards fighting for this championship. That would be very interesting. But I get this feeling this championship's going all the way. I reckon Abu Dhabi or Belgium is where it will finish. We'll have to see, because I know Adri is lightning quick at Belgium, so we'll wait and see. But currently in P4 is Iverbryn Mike on 97 points. He's sort of trying to keep up, especially with that win. 2 podiums in the last 2 races. He's trying to keep up the form and trying to improve himself and come back in this championship. The man in the Toro Rosso of Heated is currently in P5 with 87 points, with Big W only 3 points behind him on 84. Eduk has crept his way back up as well and is in 7th on 82 points. So he's overtaken the other Red Bull in the Spaniard of Nico, who's in 8th on 75 points. With Mr. Wuta in 9th, who hasn't actually been here for 3 races but is now back. He's on 75. He's on 65 points. Aledi in 10th of 49, and Smitsky in 11th on 48, with Ryan B in 12th of 35. Jasper is in 13th with 28, who's actually tied with Frey for 28 points. Kurski is on 23 points. He started to actually get himself some points finishes now, so he's starting to rack some points up. Just underneath him is Norwich City, who actually had that 2nd place at Canada, which has boosted him up massively. He's on 22 points. Ghost Recon is in 17th on 14 points. Dave in 18th on also 14 points. So him and Ghost have a little bit of a battle going on between the pair of them. And then Ricardo TV in 19th on 12 points. Redbank in 20th with 10 points, scoring that, I think it was P5 at Canada. Card Cannon is 21st with 9. Ibo is joint 21st with him, so Ibo's 22nd with also 9 points. And I think that rounds that out. I've just seen... I thought I saw a car just go well off track then. And then, as I said, we've got that Craigie Atha as well joining us today. Where's he at the moment? He's down in 19th, but I suspect that he is looking to improve on that time. But let's just see, has anyone said anything else in the chat? So Smitsky had a hospital appointment all week, so he's back for the rest of the race, back for the rest of the season. Good. It's good to hear. Is it C5 wine? Or C swine? I don't know how you say that, but nice to see you in. Actually started raining. Oh, so people didn't actually get their quali times done quick enough. And the rain's now coming to play a part into it. So we may see some early retirements. A few guys are now just going on their out laps. Let's go on board with Breadbank because he's the one that's our current pole sitter. I know he's just about to start his lap. Ooh, this is getting spicy. We'll stick on board with Big W. Yeah, he's a 10th off of his time, and that's just through turn 1 and 2. So I don't think any, majority of these guys are going to actually end up doing better than what they've already done. Norwich City's already retired from the session. A few of these guys are still in the pits, like Edluck, Adri, Wakursk, Dave, Ibo, who's deciding to go for the wets, and same with Wakursk going for the inters. Fair enough. So, very interesting. Very interesting. Also, I just want to ask, stream quality, is it good? Only because I know I've had a couple of issues in the past with it, so fingers crossed that it looks all good. But yeah, there we go. Drivers are coming into the pits. I don't think any of them are going to be able to improve on their times, so I think that's probably. I think this is how quality is just going to end up being. Cloudy Cloud gets himself a 5 grid place penalty with Craigie. Even though Craigie's down in 20th, where's Cloudy Cloud? He's in 17th, so they'll both be starting at the back of the grid. Picture's great. Comp's not as good as last week. Oh, thanks, Mark. But a full grid once again. But Ibo is on an outlap on the wets, so we'll keep on board with the man in the Williams who goes off the grass and has barely any front wing. So yeah, as I said, I think that is how quality is going to be, and that's just how it is. So Breadbank will be on pole with Big W alongside him in P2. Either Bryn Mike will be in third with MCR just starting behind him as well. So the two McLarens second and fourth. Be good points scoring for them. Mr. Wooter in fifth on his return from a 3-race deficit. Eduk is in 6th with Adri in 7th, Nico in 8th, so the two Spaniards locking out the 4th row. Wakurski is in 9th with Norwich City in 10th. James in 11th, so he's starting outside of the top 10. Heated in 12th with David in 13th, Ryan B's in 14th, Jasper's down in 15th, Ghost Recon in 16th with Carly Cloud in 17th. Irbo will be 18th, Frey is in 19th, and our debutee of Craigie is starting outside. Is starting down in last. But with Cloudy Cloud getting that 5 grid place penalty, I think Cloudy Cloud will be the one that is starting down in last. But now we're just sort of watching Ibo just going along the track, and I think he's making his way into the pits. Yeah. Breadbank has a level of intelligence few can understand by setting that lap early. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, just a few of those guys at the top just going out doing some laps on the inters, just because I know, as I said, it's going to be a wet race as well. So they're just trying to get a little bit of wet practice in just for this end part of quali. So wet race at the beginning. This is gonna go anyone's way. Anyone can win this as long as they're good off the start. At the moment, comms are okay as it's quality. Expect a bit more enthusiasm, excitement in the race. Oh, trust me, you will be. Oh, okay. Why was that? There was a okay. Adrian Frey just collided. What was that about? Okay. I'm glad I called that. I'm very glad I caught that. But yeah, as I said, it's just a few of these guys now just getting some wet laps in. You know, it's nothing exactly that's like, you know, with it being a wet race, it is a perfect opportunity for them to get them in. So, as I said, we will have to wait and see how these guys get on. Mark thinks that, or no, sorry, Wave thinks that there could be a massive pile-up into turn one. Be very interesting if there was. Very interesting. Again, yeah, again. Because I saw what happened in Japan and that did not look pretty at all. James just kind of wants to get on with it. Don't think Frey's happy in the chat. He was going ultra slow on the racing line. As long as no penalties were given, then shouldn't be a problem. Just waiting for Heated and Cloudy Cloud to both retire from the session, and then we can get this race underway. Podium prediction. This can go anyone's way. This will be going anyone's way. I think I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think Nico's going to be on a podium. I think Adri. I think it's a full Spaniard podium. I think Nico, MCR, Adri. All three on the podium. But as I said, that's very close. Oh my god. The top 14 all within a second of each other. And the top 5 all within top 6 all within 2/10. Wow. So Breadbank on pole with Big W only a hundredth of a second behind him. Ivory Mike in third, MCR fourth with Mr. Wooter in fifth, Edux sixth, Andrew in seventh, Nico in eighth, Kursk in ninth, Norwich City rounding out the top 10. James in 11th with Heated 12th, Dave in 13th, Ryan B in 14th, Jasper 15th with Ghost in 16th, Cloudy Cloud 17th, Ibo 18th. Bottom two were Frey and Craigie, but with Cloudy Cloud having that 5 grid place penalty, he will be at the back of the grid. Oh, wet race. If it's anything like what happened last week in Japan, I've as much as it would be entertaining, please don't. As we're just waiting for these guys to get on with their setups, their strategies. for this wet race to come. Question is it inters or is it actually wet conditions? I think it's actual wet because that looks like that's raining pretty hard. Just trying to see the colour on their tyres whilst I'm waiting for it to load in. Is that inters? It is inters weather. Wow. To me, that looked like that was going to be wet weather. With how hard it's raining. Interesting. So yeah, everyone on a set of the inters. Only probably have one stop of inters, probably stopping on lap 17 or 18. So yeah, a bit of an interesting one. Will anyone be spinning it on the formation lap? I wonder. It's been known to be done before. I'll keep an eye on Cloudy Cloud, as it doesn't look like anyone's actually spun on the formation lap as of yet. Jesse in the chat, Jasper Hype and Jacob being back hype. Hey, welcome back in, Jesse. Is it all wet? I'm not too sure. James just said it was a wet race, so whether that's just a wet start to the race or and it just dries up a bit later on, we'll have to wait and see. It is all wet, so it's an entire wet race. Predictions. Yeah, no, I still think it will be a. I still think it will be a full Spaniard podium. Heavy to light rain later. Okay. So this is going to shape up to be a very, very interesting race, and I am looking forward to it. As now we wait for these 5 red lights. And away the drivers go. Let's see, did anybody actually get themselves a really good start? Brett Bank has actually managed to pull away pretty quickly, but Big W all up alongside him. Going in towards turn 1, there's a racing point just in the middle of that, managing to see if he can get round the McLaren. I think Cloudy Cloud's dropping up a bit and a few people just dropping down. James has dropped down into 14th, already been overtaken by his teammate Dave. A little bit of a battle coming up towards the beginning of turn 2, as Big W's actually managed to get himself the lead of the race. Ivory Mike holding it around the outside of the Ferrari, has to go wide off track. Big W's had to go wide off track. MCR ended up going too wide into the hairpin, managed to, and the McLaren does manage to stay on top of that. Nico's actually already managed to get past Adri, and as they're both going side by side in towards turn 4, who's going to come out on top of that with? It's just looking like it's 2x2. Norwich City now going down the inside of Wakursk and is up into 9th place. Adri has lost that position to Nico. So Nico now up into P7. James and Dave both also going side by side with each other. Let's have a look. James actually managed to get past Dave and is now on the hunt for these guys up ahead. Ibo's actually managed to get himself up into P14. So Ibo has done a good job of actually moving up. I think that was 3 or 4 places he's managed to move up now already. So good job from him. As Wakursk was that him trying to go side by side with Adri. Oh, Norwich City has just broke a bit too late and ended up almost going into the back of Wakursk, but has ended up going very wide coming out of the penultimate corner. But as it stands, Brett Banks actually, I didn't even see this, Brett Banks actually managed to get back past Big W and is now retaining the lead of the race and already almost pulled up a second gap from the McLaren already. Meanwhile, Adri and Nico both going side by side in towards turn 2 now. It's a bit of a dodgy one, especially in the rain. Adri's broke very late, has gone very wide off track and is going to lose himself quite a few positions, even to his teammate. I think that was a bit of an unsafe rejoin, but has still managed to stay out ahead of his teammate nonetheless. Meanwhile, Jasper and James both going side by side up in towards turn 4. Jasper has done pretty well to come up from P15. Oh, got smacked in the back by Heated. Heated has definitely lost himself to the front wing, and Jasper has lost himself that place, unfortunately. So that is now James up into P11 and looking to chase down his championship rival. Oh, Jasper's just had a spin coming out of turn 5. And these guys just up ahead are still battling side by side. Very close racing. Ryan B just on the inside of these guys, making it to the outside through that tight and twisty chicane. James has actually had an off. Oh no. James has broke his wing. And has had to go straight into the pits. So James, even though he was only just behind his championship rival, has now had to go into the pits and get his wing changed. Meanwhile, just up ahead, we have Norwich City and Recurse battling once again. This is 4P8 this time, ahead of his teammate, Adri. And Norwich City has managed to get past the Mercedes. And looking to go down the inside of Nico. This will, what a good move. Managed to get the car broke in time. They're still side by side, however, but what a move this would be. Both still side by side. A little bit of contact between the pair of them. Nico trying to hold on to that position for dear life. Norwich City now braking late in towards turn 5. They're still side by side, but Recurse trying to get in the action as well. Nico's still holding that edge ahead of these guys as well. But Norwich City, is he managing to go around the outside, coming in towards turn 5 now? No, he doesn't. Nico holds that position and is still remaining down in P7. So, very good battling from those guys for that position. Dave has also done the Tokyo Drift that Jasper has done and has gone off at turn 5. Meanwhile, this battle for P7 still cracking on. With Norwich City is pressuring Nico harder than ever. And I know Nico isn't going to want to look at this. I'm going to stick on board with Adri to see if we can see anything just up ahead for all these guys, as Nico is the one that's leading this little train at the moment. But Mr. Wooter isn't that far up ahead just from these guys as well. Meanwhile, just keeping an eye on it as well. Mike is only just behind Big W, as I think I saw someone just left the session. Not sure who that was. Recurse looked like he broke a bit too late, so I had to try and move a bit to the outside. May have clipped the back of Norwich City, I'm not too sure. But it looks like they're just running in this little train at the moment. I'm going to stick on board with Recurse to see if he can end up getting a move done on the Renault. He does look to go down the inside. Tries to stick it as well. Will he get the move done? They're still side by side. And it looks like Norwich City does hold on to that position for P8. So a good job from Norwich City to hold that position from the Mercedes. But all of this is just allowing Nico just to get up ahead. And has started to build that gap from these guys just behind. Although saying that, Norwich City is still only 2 tenths behind him. So this battle does not look like it is dying down anytime soon. Meanwhile, Breadbank already pulled out that 1 second gap to the McLaren of Big W. So he's doing an amazing job of just holding out up front. Whilst we still have this battle for P7 going on. Here we go. Is Adri looking to pressure Recurse going up towards turn 2. Both going side by side now. Coming up towards it. Both of them braking late as well. Recurse manages to hold that well. Doesn't end up going off track and retains that P9. Adri still down in P10. But heated with that wing damage is still just sitting behind the Spaniard in the Renault. And he's just going to have to stay there for now. Oh, was that someone that just went off? I think that may have been... No, it wasn't actually, was it? I'm not too sure, but Frey and Cloudy Cloud both going side by side now. This is 4P15. It is out of the points, but good battling nonetheless. Cloudy Cloud manages to go up ahead of Frey. Cloudy Cloud now up into P15 and is looking to see if he can charge towards his teammate. And saying that, Jasper, I've just seen, has just gone off of track. Managed to come back on track, but is probably going to be overtaken by his teammate relatively shortly. I think Jasper's making his way into the pits. Oh, no, he isn't. Oh, Adri and Recurse. I think Recurse must have made a mistake. Adri has now gotten past Recurse, and Heated is also looking to see if he can get past the Mercedes as well. He's just going to have to slot in behind him at the moment, but there was a card that had just broken very late. It was a Racing Point. Who was that? Oh, it was Craig. Oh, it was Craigie. Craigie ended up breaking very late. But meanwhile, we have Ibo and Ryan B both battling. This is for the final point of the race as well. Ibo just backs out of it and just slots down in P13. Ryan B manages to hold P12. As I said, that is for the final point so far. But with this only being lap 6, a lot of these guys are still all very close together, and I think Adri and Nico both side by side. Adri takes one dives straight up the inside of Nico, says see you later, and that's now him up into P8. And Wakurski's also looking to see if he can get past the Red Bull. Both still side by side going through turn 5. Wakurski goes very wide, try and get a better exit out of that, and has actually managed to get the move done. So around the outside of turn 5, the man in the Mercedes has done a very good job of doing that, and that's now Wakursk up into P9, Nico down into 10th. He was only in P7 about 2 or 3 laps ago, so that was some very good racing. Unfortunate for Nico. I'm thinking that he was going to be on a podium, but wow, he's just dropped 3 places in a matter of a lap. So unfortunate for the man in the Red Bull, and he runs very wide coming out of turn 1 as well, so it's going to hamper him a lot. Heated, looking to see if he can probably go around the outside, going in towards turn 2. They are both side by side going up the hill. So who will come out on top of that? Ryan B is also looking to see if he can join the fun with that. Heated breaking late along with Nico, and Heated just going to have to slot in behind the Red Bull of his sister team, and is retaining P10 at the moment. But with Heated, as I said, he's got wing damage, and it doesn't look like it's affecting him at all. In fact, he's looking to see if he can probably go around the outside once again. Bit more contact, both still side by side, and Nico holds on to that at the moment, but I think Heated is not finished yet and wants to try and get past him again ASAP. But this battle for P7 is still going on with these 3 cars. The 2 Renaults along with Wakursk. Our championship leader is down in P8, so he is not doing the best at the moment, but I know that he will want to try and move himself up a lot more than what he is at the moment. Meanwhile, Heated and Ryan B are both going side by side, coming out of the penultimate corner as well. That's a very difficult place to go side by side with. And meanwhile, Ivo is also all in the back of this as well. Just up ahead as well, though, Norris City and Adri. Adri's managed to get past his teammate, and Wakurska's also gone past his teammate, so Norris City must have made a huge mistake, trying to see if he can get the car back done on the Mercedes, not able to do so. Meanwhile, this battle's still behind with with Heated, Ryan B and Ivo, still very close to each other, but Norris City, is he going to look to go down for a move in towards turn 2? Brakes late, tries to hold it down the inside, not able to do so, and that's now allowing Nico to see if he can try and get past the Renault. And Nico looks like he's got more drag coming out of turn 2. So looks like Norwich City took a bit more of a shorter line. And he stays in P9, although he did make a mistake. Nico now side by side with the man in the Renault. And Nico looking to see if he can go past him around the outside of turn 5. Will he stick the position? It looks like he will. And that is Nico now up into P9, and he does hold that position. So good overtake from Nico. Done exactly what Wakursk done to him. He's now done it back to one of the Renaults. So good job from him. Iron Mike has actually set himself the fastest lap of the race so far. So will Mike play a factor into it? He's only half a second behind Big W, and just behind him you can see MCR is there. This battle for P1 is starting to shape up a bit more now, though, as it looks like Mike is now starting to pick up his feet and is now starting to learn that learn the way a bit more now. Jesse just saying in the chat, what tyres are we predicting in the pit stop? Same, it's raining throughout the entire race, so it will be inters. As there's yellows in sector 1, I think that is Ghost. It is Ghost. He is going very slowly at the moment, so I don't know what happened with Ghost, but that is just looks as if he's made a mistake. But Norwich City and Nico both going side by side now in towards turn 4. Nico's looking to see if he can hold it around the outside from the Renault. I think Norwich City's managed to get that move done down the inside. They're still side by side, however, and Nico has actually managed to get back past him, but Norwich City now doing that same move to what Nico done to him a lap ago, and that is him now up into P9. Nico has had that move done to him twice now in this race, and twice he has, well, he's had to give that up. But they're still side by side going in towards the penultimate corner. Again, not a corner where you'd want to go side by side with each other. Very difficult to keep it with each other as well. And they're looking like they're still doing it. Norwich City's had to take a bit of a tighter line, which is allowing Nico to see if he can go past him down towards turn 1. And that is Nico now past the Renault, and Nico now back up into P9. Does run very wide coming out of turn 1 though. I don't know if anyone's actually got any penalties yet. I haven't been keeping an eye on it, but I haven't seen anything pop up down the bottom. But Norwich City now, with this battle with Heated and this battle with Ryan B, Will Norwich City go for a move down the inside? He has broken late to see if he can go down the inside. Very tight between them. And now Heated's actually looked to see if he can go around the outside of Norwich City. Heated now side by side with the Renault. Even with this broken wing, he is now up into P10. But will Norwich City look to break late? Oh, he does have a little bit of contact with him. Both still side by side going in towards turn 4. Nico's now gotten away from this little pack. But they're still side by side, both Heated and Norwich City. A little bit of contact as well. Heated just pushing and shoving him a bit, but that is Heated up into P10. So good. This has been some very good battling with all of these guys. They have managed to learn from last week. But now, Ryan B and Norwich City also going side by side. Norwich City was battling for P7 last a few laps ago. Now he's down in battling for P12. And I think Ryan B may have him. He just picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. And I've just seen Andrew put himself the fastest lap of the race. And Norwich City retains that P11 for now. But Mike and Big W, excuse me, very close with each other on track. Ibbo's dropped down into P17. Oh, he's actually come into the pit. Same with Freight and same with Craigie. But Big W is starting to close up that gap to the bread bank, so we'll wait and see how these guys will be getting on. Someone get me some cough syrup, Jesse is saying, please. But there is still this 4-car train running for the first position of the grid, and Andrew looking like he's starting to close up to Mr. Walter at an alarming rate for Mr. Walter, but his teammate is still within that 2-second gap as well, just behind him. But, oh, Ryan B's had an off. Unfortunate for Ryan, he was running in the points, but now Jasper has managed to claw that final point off of Ryan. I don't know what happened with him. It must have been at the exit of turn, what's that, turn 7. So unfortunate for the man in the Ferrari. But as I said, that's now allowed Jasper to promote himself up in and get himself a point. But this battle for first position, Big W is now closer than ever to the bread bank. But he's just going to have to stay behind him at the moment. It looks like they're starting to gap a little bit towards Ivory Mike. And MCR is just still floating there or about there anyway. Big W was looking to having a look, but not close enough to get a move done. But this battle for first, it is starting to shape up. And Big W now ever so close behind the Ferrari of the bread bank. Looks like he got a better exit coming out of turn 1 as well. Is this where we see the move done? Big W now is straight into overtake and probably running it in Rich as well. Now going side by side, going up the hill. Now Breadbank trying to look at the defender down the inside. Big W breaks late around the outside, and that is Big W now up into your lead of the race. But it doesn't look like the Breadbank is done. He's looking to see if he can try and get past the McLaren once again. Big W covers off on the inside, and that is Big W now into your lead of the race. Oh, there's been a tap. Breadbank's hit Big W. Oh no. Oh no. So the Breadbank's actually hit Big W. And Big W is now down into third. Mike is only just behind the Ferrari. Mike could be getting his second win. But here we go, Breadbank now holding down the inside from the Red Bull of Ivor Brim Mike. And Mike actually just goes straight ahead. Oh, Breadbank was actually letting Big W back through. So Mike is now in your lead of the race. As I said, Breadbank was just giving that place back. And that's now allowing MCR to see if he can try and pressure the Ferrari of the Breadbank as well. but not able to do so. Did Breadbank get any wing damage from that though? I'm just trying to see his front left. I don't think he did get any wing damage. So Breadbank coming out of that wing damage free, but is now a second behind the McLaren of Big W. Big W's already actually closed that gap up to Ibra and Mike. There's now already only 4/10 in it between him and the Aussie. Or between the Welshman and the Aussie. Keeping an eye on Big W. He looks like he is a lot quicker in straight line speed compared to the Red Bull just up ahead of him, and he usually gets a good exit coming out of turn 1. Did he this time? No, he didn't. In fact, Mike actually got a much better exit than what Big W did, but with him having that straight line speed, he will probably start to close up coming up towards turn 4. But MCR is also pretty close to the back of the Ferrari. He's just having a slot in behind him at the moment. So it's good racing from the pair of them. Adri now only 1.4 seconds behind Mr. Wooter. And Edok's actually only brought himself a second in behind MCR. So Edok is also within this as well. And we're going to see another 5-way battle for the lead like we did in Canada. Because at the moment it is shaping up to be like that. Meanwhile, I can see just towards the back end of the grid, James and Cloudy Cloud. James dives it straight up the inside of the Alfa Romeo, says see you later, and that's him now up in the P14. He's looking to see if he can try and get himself at least a point from all of this, so we'll keep an eye on James to see if he does end up getting any points. But at the moment, it's just allowing Adri just to build up even further for his championship fight with him. And as I said, even this is allowing MCR to see if he can end up getting past James in this championship. He's 17 points behind him. So MCR would need a P2. And James would need to have, well, would need to get no points at all for him to be able to overtake James in the championship. Which is insane to think about, because James was leading this at one point as well. But we're just keeping an eye on it as well. Edok was just behind MCR, but not able to get the move done. Big W's now also starting to drop off a little bit from Ibra and Mike. Breadbank's also starting to drop off from Big W. And MCR's dropped off from Breadbank. So these guys are all starting to, maybe a few mistakes that are coming into play, which is just dropping them back bit by bit. There in the background you did see Mr. Wooter and Adri just going past your screen. Nope. But I'm going to quickly go on board with this battle for... Oh, actually, MCR ducks into the pits. So, the first one out of the front runners to make a pit stop is MCR. Will he... He's going to look to go on a set of the inters, but will he undercut these guys? I know an undercut can... this game does love an undercut. So we'll see where he ends up coming out. I think he'll be ahead. Will he be ahead of this little group with Norwich City, Jasper and Ryan? He hopes so. He's behind Norwich City. He's side by side with Jasper actually. So Jasper's now in P11. MCR. Will he get the move done on the Alfa Romeo? He has only just come out of the pits. Now looking to see if he can go maybe around the outside of the Alfa Romeo. Not able to do so. Jasper goes a bit too deep though, and that's MCR now side by side with the man in the Alfa Romeo. And I think MCR may just get past Jasper. Will he? Oh no, he's actually staying. He's actually behind him. Jasper hasn't left in the room, and MCR's now actually had to stay down in P12. Oh, this is going to affect it. This is going to affect it where he will come out. Mike and Big W both make their way in the pit. Same with Breadbank. Does Edok follow in as well? Yes, he does. Does Mr. Wooter follow him in? No, he doesn't. So Mr. Wooter stays out for another lap. Adri's actually also made his way into the pits as well. What about Wakursk? He stays out once again as well. Does Nico? Nico actually stays out and all. So we'll keep an eye on MCR as he's coming around the penultimate corner. Where's he going to come out in relation to everyone in the pits? Let's see. Mike comes out of the pits and actually comes out ahead of his teammate. Big W comes out. Breadbank, Educk, Adri is all the way down in 11th and is still behind MCR at the moment, but he's not actually that far behind him. So we'll see where Adri actually comes out in relation to Mr. Wooter, because I know that's who he was battling at one point. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. But MCR is still stuck behind Jasper. Meanwhile, the guys that he was battling with are all up ahead of him. And in fact, Educk is now a net P4, whereas MCR is now a net P5. And Adri is only just behind MCR. And in fact, Mr. Wooter could probably be up ahead of MCR coming out of the pit stop stage. Let's see, do one of the Mercedes end up pitting? Mr. Wooter doesn't, does Wakursk? Oh, Wakursk. He did want to go in the pits, he took it a bit too far. And that's now him into the pits, but Nico's also made his way into the pit stop. So Ivory might now up into P2. With Big W only just behind, well, I say only just behind him, is a bit behind him. 2 seconds behind him, actually. Think about it, he was only about 8 tenths behind him at one point, as Breadbank actually puts himself up a time penalty. As I said, I don't know what penalty situations are looking like, but I'm pretty sure Breadbank is the only one out of the front runners that has a penalty. So the Breadbank is actually going to end up finishing behind Educk at this stage. So Educk is currently a net P3. Meanwhile, Jasper has made his way into the pits. MCR has now got himself some clean air to try and get away from Adri, who's just behind him. Very close to that second gap. But Nico and Cloudy Cloud now also looking to see who can get past who. Nico trying to go down the inside of the Alfa Romeo. Slots that in, and that's now Nico back up into P10 and looking to chase down Wakursk, who has also just made his pit stop. Mr. Wooter does come into the pit, so where is he going to come out in relation to the Renault of Adri, and also in relation to MCR, because Adri was about a second behind him. So we'll keep an eye on it as Ivory Mike does set the fastest lap of the race. Where's Mr. Wooter? He's now out of his pit box, but Adri coming across the line. Where is Mr. Wooter in all of this? He's just come out of the pits. They may be side by side coming out of it, actually. In fact, Adri has gotten himself up ahead. That is Adri now up into P6 in the race. So good going from the Spaniard in the Renault to actually undercut the man that he had to try and overtake, but is now, well, he doesn't need to now. He's gotten past him just through the pit stop stage. Adri now looking to chase down his other compadre, the other Spaniard in the McLaren of MCR. And he is doing an absolute stunning job of catching up to him. Here we go, Adri is only 5 tenths behind MCR. Will he go for a move going in towards turn 1? Ryan B and Dave look like they've just swapped positions, so Ryan now up into P11, Dave now down into P12. And with Norwich City is actually only just behind these guys as well. Ryan has made that pit stop, but Dave hadn't. James makes his way into the pits. So we'll see where James comes out in the pit stop stage. He may actually come out behind Jasper. I think those two were pretty close behind each other. But Adri still not able to get a move done on MCR. And in fact, Mark's actually just pointing something out very well. If Adri gets a podium, this is world-class title racing. Certainly is. It certainly is. But Adri's just still having to slot in behind MCR at the moment. Oh, Adri does have a little bit of a slide though, and I think that's given MCR a little bit of a gap to him now. So it gives him a little bit of breathing room, but not much. Just enough to not make him claustrophobic. But we are now on lap 22 of 36. Mike is still leading the way at the moment with Big W down in second. Big W look like he is catching up to him slightly now, so we'll see if Big W does end up coming out on... if he could end up coming out on top, because Breadbank is already 3 seconds behind these guys, and just about 3 seconds behind him is E-Duck. But Breadbank does have that 3-second time penalty, and as I said, I don't know if any of these guys up at the front actually have any penalties. So, with that being said, Breadbank will actually be in P4 and E-Duck will be up in P3. But Adri now getting ever so close to the back of the McLaren of MCR. I think MCR just made a little bit of a mistake going through the hairpin, and Adri looks like he just made a little bit of a mistake going through turn 4, which allowed MCR to get the better exit. There are yellows in Sector 1. Is that one of the front runners? Doesn't appear to be. I'm not too sure who that is though. Sticking on board with this battle for P5. MCR's actually run very wide coming out of turn 1. He's hit the grass, so that's going to compromise his run. Adri now is going to be gaining on him ever so quickly coming up the hill. Will Adri go for a move going in towards turn 2? He's thinking about it. I thought he was going to go for it, but he's actually just had to stay behind him for now. But he is ever so close to back of MCR. So will Adri look to maybe even go for a move going in towards turn 4? He is gaining on him on the straight. Adri, he goes for the move. Side by side, a little bit of contact with the pair of them, but it's still fair racing, but still on track. And Adri is now up into P5. What a move from the man in the Renault. And that he's now looking to make that charge for these guys in the top 4. Meanwhile, Breadbank looks like he's made a bit of a mistake, and he is now 4.5 seconds behind Big W, and Enoch is only 1.5 seconds behind him. So Enoch is definitely in P3 at the moment, but will Adri be able to snag that place from Breadbank as well and pushing down to P5? He may even carry MCR with him and end up coming in towards P8. May end up coming P6 in the end. It just depends on how these guys for P5 and P6 will handle this situation, and if they manage to even get remotely close. But Big W now only 1.2 seconds behind Ivory and Mike. As I said, he is closing that gap up quickly. Adri has looked like he just made a bit of a mistake coming out of the hairpin. Broke a bit too late, but it doesn't look like it's compromised his run at all because MCR is still only about 6 tenths behind him. But MCR looks like he's actually closing back up to the back of Adri. Meanwhile, Adri looks like he's actually losing time to Edoc, and Edoc looks like he's actually gaining more time on the Breadbank. There's yellows in Sector 3. I'm not too sure who that is. It's Craigie Craig. Why did I say Craigie Craig? I'm not too sure. Someone in chat just saying Jasper and Cloudy are disappointing me. Well, I'll apologise on their behalf. But Heated and James are actually battling. This is for the final point. Heated is now up into P12. Meanwhile, Jasper's still down in 13th. Heated is helping Adri and MCR massively by staying in P13. As Breadbank actually picks up another penalty. So, Adri is going to be in P4. Edoc will be 3rd and MCR will be 5th. This is pushing Breadbank down. And Breadbank's actually retired from the race. Where has he been it? Is that coming out of turn? That's coming out of turn 4. Where's he put it? Oh, it looks like he's just driven straight off the track. Interesting. Very interesting. But James and Heated now, this battle for the final point of the race. Oh, well, it's not going to be final point anymore because now they're going to be in their points position. But Jasper is now looking to see if he can battle James for this final point of the race. As Jasper just picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. Not good for the man in the Alfa Romeo. As Heated and James going side by side around the penultimate corner. James gives Heated the squeeze out on the outside of that, and Heated's actually looking to see if he can come back on James through the final corner. Not able to do so, but Heated looks like he's got a much better run coming out of that final corner than what the Haas has above him, and he's just going to have to stay behind him again. I think Heated has just broke his wing on the back of the Haas once again. Either that or Jasper's just broke his wing. I did see a bit of wing fly off, and I think it may have been Heated as Frey's actually just retired from the race. I think he may have gone in the pit stop, and Jasper's now ahead of Heated. So, yeah, Heated did actually break his wing once again on the back of James. Oh dear. So Heated now has himself more wing damage and has already lost out a second to Jasper. Jasper is now in a points finishing position. It's all gone from bad to worse for the man in the Toro Rosso. Well, for the Toro Rosso in general. As I said, Heated has retired from the session. But back up front now, Big W is now within a second of Ivor Brim Mike. And MCR has lost out a second now to Adri. So Adri is on the charge to try and catch up to Educk. And looking to see if he can get himself yet another podium. As Mark said, it would be absolute world class if he manages to get this podium. There is still 9 laps left to go. He is only 2.2 seconds behind him. But with how Educk's driving at the moment, he looks like he's doing a solid job of just holding that P3. So Adri does have to get a move on if he wants to try and get that podium. But Big W, as I said, is just sort of lingering around that 1 second gap. It just looks like Mike is quicker in the straights compared to what Big W is. And then in the corners, Big W is a lot quicker than other than Mike in that sort of sense. In fact, Mike actually looked like he got a much better exit out of turn 1 compared to what Big W has. So Big W's just going to have to, he's just sitting, as I said, around that sort of 1 second gap to Mike just up ahead of him. Clyde picks himself up a 3 second time penalty, so that's going to allow Dave to move into P14. But now there's just sort of quite a few gaps between each of the cars. The closest battle on track is looking like it is this battle for the lead of the race. But it looks like Mike is actually starting to get away from Big W a little bit. And in fact, it looks like Adri he's closed that gap up rapidly to Educk. He's closed that within a second last lap. So Adri is on an absolute charge. He's only 1.4 seconds behind Educk now. So Adri, as I said, on an absolute charge and looking to see if he can get past the racing point in a few laps' time and get himself that final podium position. I felt the rear slipping while hitting the apex, overcorrected and span into the barrier. It's annoying, but these things happen. Unlucky bread bank. But in fact, it looks like MCR's starting to drop off quite a bit, as Mr. Wooter's only 8 tenths behind the man in the McLaren. Adri did have to make a mission to try and get past him, as Heated is actually retired from the session. I think he went into the pits and retired in there. But for some reason, Ibo's stuck on the hards. But Mr. Wooter now only, as I said, only 8 tenths behind MCR. So MCR has definitely, I think, has definitely been making some mistakes. And that's allowed Mr. Wooter to try and catch up to the back of him. Meanwhile, Adri now within that second gap of Edark. So we could be having some last lap dramas coming towards at the end of the race. As Mr. Wooter is only now 7 tenths behind MCR, and that gap is closing. He's now only 6 tenths behind Edark. And I'll be shocked if he manages to pull this one off. Bank just saying penalties were given when I went off track and into the gravel, which is weird. GG, nice penalty system, Codemasters. Fair enough. His yellow's in sector 2. I'm assuming that's going to be Craigie or Ibo, one of them two. But Adri has closed that gap up massively. Now only 5 tenths, the same with Mr. Wooter to MCR. MCR I think must have made a mistake coming out of turn 1. And Mr. Wooter is getting very close to the back of the McLaren. Excuse me. So Mr. Wooter could actually be overtaking MCR very shortly. And Adri could also be overtaking Edark very shortly. Meanwhile, James has got James is in a points position and has actually overtaken Norwich City going up the hill. Big W picks himself up a 3-second time penalty, but it doesn't look like. Well, I don't think it will matter because he is still only 1.6 seconds behind Ivor Bryn Mike, and there's a gap of 6.7 seconds to to Edark, sorry. But James, I think, looked to try and go down the inside of, go around the outside, sorry, of Norwich City. Norwich City didn't leave him the space. James has to just stay in P11 for now, and this is actually a pretty good battle between the pair of them. This is for P10 for 3 points. So, will James be able to get past Norwich City? James is running out of fuel, by the way, so he's going to need to do some fuel saving because there are only 4 laps left to go. Well, once these guys cross the line, then there'll be 4 laps left to go. As Adri's actually lost some time to Edark, so I wonder if Adri's made a bit of a mistake. That yellow for sector 1 to sector 2, I wonder if that was Adri, probably possibly just braking a bit too late coming out of going through the second corner, because Mr. Wooter is right up behind MCR, and James has actually managed to get past Norwich City this time. So James now up into P10, Norwich City now down into 11th. I don't know what happened to Norwich City because he was well ahead. Oh, he's actually lost a lot of wing. I wonder what happened there. I must have gone off it at the absolute wrong time. As Dave and Ghost are now battling as well. Ghost has just hit the back of, I think that was Craigie. Sorry, Dave's just hit the back of Craigie, sorry. Ghost has just hit the back of Dave. And Craigie going for a move down on Dave. Both have a bit of a tap. That's now Dave down into 15th and Ghost into 14th. I'm not too sure why Craigie battled that one because that was actually for him being lapped. Bit of an odd one, but James has now picked himself up the fastest lap of the race, so he will be having that extra point. So he's actually going to be 4 points now. And with Adri picking up 12 so far, where will that put him? Oh, Mr. Wu looks like he may have made a mistake because he's now 2 seconds behind MCR. So I wonder what happened with Mr. Wuta. And same with Adri. Adri's lost out quite a bit of time to Edok. Very interesting. But Big W's now starting to lose out a bit more time to other than Mike. As long as Mike doesn't do anything silly or doesn't make a mistake, I think this is his race now to lose. So Mike has done exceptionally well by holding off Big W and holding off a lot of the incidents that were going on up ahead of him, and is now actually going to be your winner of this race from the looks of things. Hopefully, touch wood, not commentator's curse. But Adri, if he wants any chance of getting on this podium, he's going to need to close up to Eduk now. I don't tend to look at the penalties, and I'm going to carry that on. So to my understanding, Adri does need to get past Eduk. Unless someone wants to just have a flick through the stream and see if Eduk does have a penalty. But to my knowledge, he doesn't. Meanwhile, I didn't just notice actually, Norwich City had made himself a pit stop. Is now only just behind Ghost Recon, and Ghost is only 2.5 seconds behind Cloudy Cloud. If Norwich City pulls off the fastest lap, Cloudy Cloud has a penalty. Norwich City just has to get past Ghost, and he will have that 1 lap point. As Eduk makes a mistake coming out of turn 2. Adri now all over the back of Eduk. Will Adri get a move done going in towards turn 4? He did make a massive mistake coming out of turn 2 then. So, here we go. Adri, will he go for this move? Down in towards turn 4. No, he doesn't. He's just going to have to stay behind the racing point at the moment, but Eduk does look like he goes wide. Adri now going down the inside of Eduk, going in towards turn 5. Will he be able to get this move done going around the outside? Still side by side going around there. Adri, will he get this done? He does look like he's going to get this done. They're still side by side going in towards turn 6. Will he get this done? No, he doesn't. Eduk holds that P3. Well done to Eduk for holding on to that position, but it doesn't look like it's over yet because Adri, is he going to get this move done? Going in towards penultimate corner. No, he does not. He's just going to have to stay behind Eduk at the moment, but now coming up in towards turn 1 on the final lap. Will Adri get this move done? There are yellows in sector 3. I don't know who that is. That's Norwich City, who's actually DNF'd from the race. I didn't notice he DNF'd. Adri's just smacked the back of Eduk. And Adri's lost front wing. They're both still side by side. Adri's now up into P3. I think Adri might have to give that place back. I think Adri's going to have to give that place back. Adri did lose that front wing from it, but I don't know. That's a tricky one. That is a very tricky one. Because Adri is now on the podium, but with how that happened, I think he might have to give that place back. As Mike picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. Big W actually has himself a penalty. I completely forgot about that. But Iverbrin Mike has been doing so well, and that is him who has won the race. What a win from the man in the Red Bull, with Big W finishing in P2 in the end. It looks like it's going to be a drag race towards the end of the race. Adri loses it by 0.003 of a second. I thought Adri finished ahead. What? Okay. Oh. I guess that counts as him giving it back. Yeah, why not? Why not? I know Adrian is going to be absolutely fuming, but as I said, it did look like it was a bit of a shove off, so he did technically have to give that position back. But what an end to that race! That was, yeah. I thought you finished ahead as well. I saw it on my screen. You finished ahead, but okay. That was it's a bit of an odd one. But this man had absolutely no faults going through this race whatsoever. Unfortunate for Big W because he got tagged by Brad Bank when he was in the lead of the race. But this man on the top step of the podium, the Welshman, that is now his second win in a row, by the way. Congratulations to him for winning at Austria. And what a race that was. Look at that. That gap, third and fourth. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But Ivor Bryn Mike does win the Austrian Grand Prix. Technically, that's a home race for Red Bull as well, so congrats to him, with Big W finishing in second, E-Dyke finishing third, Adrian fourth, MCR in fifth, with Mr. Wooter in sixth, Wilkerski in seventh, Nico in eighth, Ryan being in ninth, with James running out the top 10. Jasper in 11th, Ghost picking up that final points position with Clyde Cloud 13th, Dave 14th, Norwich City in 15th, Ibo in 16th, Craigie in 17th, and our non-finishers were heated Frey and the Bread Bank. And actually, Norwich City also DNF'd as well. So, and I think Iwo must have DNF'd as well. So, yeah, that just that drag race towards the end of the race was just insane. Absolutely insane. So, wow. Yeah. The only thing I've got less to say is thank you guys very much for watching that. That was an insane end to the race. Congrats once again to Ivor Bryn Mike for his second win in a row. Um, if you want, D1 stream is currently going on at the moment. I think they must be very close to also finishing. And then in about 10 minutes time, Division 2 will be starting. As you probably saw, I have gotten an invite for that. So once again, thank you guys for watching. And we will catch you guys next week for the Silverstone Grand Prix. Take it easy.